Good day, friends, and we are happy to be with you here today for episode number 49 of a Disney Life podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. A Disney Life pod is a place that we created so that we have that time to set aside each week to let a little bit of the magic and the mouse enter our lives. But this week, we're steering a little bit away from the mouse and we're heading over to Universal Orlando Resort. My name is Missy, and I am joined today by my co host, Rachel. Hello, Rachel.
Hi, Missy. I'm excited to be talking about Universal again. We haven't done a Universal episode in several months, so this will be exciting today.
It has been a bit, and today we are joined by our guest, Eric. Eric recently traveled to Universal Orlando, and he's here today with a trip report about his experience. Thanks for being here today, Eric.
Hey, no problem, guys. Thanks for having me.
So Eric recently returned from a visit to Universal Orlando Resort. This is the first time Eric has joined us on the podcast. So before we get into things, I guess we'll have Eric tell us a little bit about himself. I know it's not the first time he's been to the Orlando area.
No, I usually frequent the Orlando area at least 2 to 3 times a year. I'm a big theme park enthusiast. I'm mostly a Disney guy, but I do enjoy Universal. I mean, the ratio is probably 3 to 1, if I'm being
Okay.
honest. But I worked for comic conventions throughout the year, and I had a chance to go to MegaCon in Orlando, which is one of the biggest shows in all of the country. So I thought while I was down there, I was like, well, let's go to Universal for a couple days because it's just right down the block from the Orange County Convention Center. And in all honesty, the hotel rooms were much cheaper just a little bit down the road at Universal than they was next to the convention center. So one of my friends went with me, Dylan. He's a big Universal fan as well, but he's never went with me before, but he enjoys the conventions and all that. So like, well, let's just do a trip this weekend, a quick trip. We'll go to Universal for a couple days. And then we'll go to MegaCon on Saturday, which is the big day, and it's crazy. We won't even talk about that, but it's a mess down there.
That may be another whole episode in itself. I
That's
honestly
yeah,
know
like
nothing
it.
about MegaCon or what's involved,
Yeah,
but when I see you
I've
post
seen
pictures
I've seen
online, it
John
looks
Cena and
super
Mr.
cool.
T. So, but
That's pretty
anyway,
cool.
yeah. Anyway, went to Universal because, like I said, it's been 3 years since I've been there. I haven't been to Epic yet. I did not go to Epic Universe this trip because it's something new, and I kind of wanted to take my time getting into
Mhm.
that instead of trying to fit a new park into 2 days time. So I just did
Right.
Islands of Adventure and Studios. Stayed at Cabana Bay. Didn't do the Express Pass this time, which I will say it does make a difference. I'm a big Express Pass advocate, but
Uh-huh.
we made the best of our trip. We kind of prioritized what we wanted to do and got in there, used the early entry perk, obviously. You got
Uh-huh.
to use that to your advantage for sure.
So you
And
were
I've
at
lost my place.
Cabana Bay Beach Resort then for this trip. Had you stayed there before, and what were your thoughts on your experience at the hotel there?
I have stayed there before. This is my second time I've stayed at Cabana Bay. I like Cabana Bay, but Cabana Bay is definitely busy.
Mhm.
I'm one more of those people that kind of like the laid back atmosphere of a resort. Of course, I'm in my 40s now, so I'm kind of starting to turn into I like to relax old man
More
these days.
leisurely kind of guy.
More leisurely, especially at the hotel. I mean, at the theme parks, I'm kind of go, go, go.
Mhm.
But at the hotel, I kind of want to wind down and lay by the pool and all that, kind of have a relaxation. But it's definitely a beehive of activity at Cabana Bay. I don't dislike Cabana Bay, but I think I might try across the street at Adventura. I had a tower
Mhm.
room at Cabana Bay where you could look over and see Adventura. I didn't have a Volcano Bay view, and it looked like there was 3 people in the pool. For what I could, you'd go down to the pool at Cabana Bay, there was like 2,000. So
It was packed, yeah.
yeah, I think next time if I don't do a signature collection hotel for the Express Pass, I think I'd like to give Aventura a try because I've never stayed at that.
And either of you, Rachel?
No, I haven't either. I've stayed at several of them, but back in November, that was my first time at Cabana Bay, and I would agree. We arrived at 1 a.m. in the morning, and there were people in line to check in at 1 a.m. So it is busy.
It's
Yeah,
I'll
popping
tell
it's
you.
there.
definitely it's one of those family, type
Mhm.
things. People's bringing the kids because, of course, they got the family suites and all that. So
Uh-huh.
it holds a lot of people, and it's a huge resort. We was in the back in the tower room, but I didn't find that the walk up front was too bad or anything like that.
Mhm.
personally. So
Yeah, I think those tower rooms are nice and convenient being able to walk in the interior corridors to get to the
yes,
main lobby building there. It's kind of like I compare it to Art of Animation for some obvious reasons because it
yeah,
has regular rooms and family suites. It has some interior corridors, but then it does have that, I guess it was the original side of the resort there that is all the motel style rooms, not the tower rooms like what you were in. So
mm,
they do have different price points for each, though, and I think they're priced pretty fairly. And like you said, much cheaper options than some other options in the Orlando
yes,
area. So more reasonable pricing, at least. I wouldn't say cheap. None of it's cheap, of course, but it's you get
Yeah.
more
yeah.
value out of your money, and they often offer some discounts. And I think maybe Cabana Bay is one that seems to be a little more heavier discounted throughout the year too. Did you eat there at their what is the Bayliner Diner
Airliner
there?
diner.
Yeah.
I ate there like once or twice. Just kind of,
Hmm.
I didn't. This usually when I go to theme parks, I do eat a lot of food, but this was a quick trip. I ate there twice, and I think I only ate in the park twice, to be perfectly honest with you. In comparison, to Disney, it's easy to get to things outside of the Universal bubble.
Uh-huh.
And there's some restaurants close that I do like to enjoy when I'm in Orlando. And especially there at Cabana Bay, you can take that back road behind the resort and hit Sand Lake Road, and there's all kinds of dining options. I really like Flipper's Pizza that we don't have around anywhere I'm close to. And there's a chicken tender place called Huey Magoo's that's very good. So I kind of took advantage of those in the evening since they was convenient and obviously not as expensive.
Yeah.
You get more for your money that way. You really can't do that at Disney, just hop off and go somewhere from the resort. You're
Mhm.
kind of, more or less not really stuck there, but they want you to stay there. But
It's
it's
a
really
bigger
easy
bubble
to,
there, yeah.
yeah, it's easy. It's a lot easier to come and go from Universal. So I use that to my advantage, especially since I drove down there.
That seems so bold and adventurous to me because, being outside of the Disney bubble to me and venturing all the way to Universal seems like an adventure in itself, but then actually leaving Universal and going to eat in the real world, like, wow, Eric, it makes sense, but I'd be afraid to do it.
When you want something, you want something. I know that
I
I
guess,
probably
yeah.
won't be back in Orlando till September, so it's like, well, I better get it now. I'm gonna wait 6 months. So
It was the time to get it, and of
Yeah.
course, like you mentioned, it's a cost savings also.
mhm.
When you're staying within the resort range there, your price range is resort pricing, so it's a good money saving tip also to venture a little bit off property, and Universal's just set up a little bit differently to begin with anyway. They're really compact right there around City Walk, but now that you've got Epic out, down the road a ways and their new resorts, Endless Summer that they put up there. You are venturing out to travel around their actual resort to start with. So I can see how it makes sense to do that. So,
Yeah,
okay.
I've stayed at Endless Summer before, and you can walk across the street and go to Walgreens if you need something. So
Yeah. Yeah. Unless you're staying at a signature collection, you're kind of outside of the bubble in a lot of
yeah,
ways, where Universal is. And a lot of that is they just did not have the ability to buy up a lot of land like Walt Disney World had that ability to do so.
right.
That is definitely true.
Yeah, it's kind
Yeah.
of in
They're
comparison to Disneyland and Anaheim, the ways
Yeah.
you got everything around you like that.
in
So.
the city there, but they're holding their own there,
Mhm.
though. They've got their four
Oh
parks
yeah.
now, including the water park, and there's plenty to do there. Far more than there was 10 years ago, I guess you
Yeah.
Oh
could
yes,
say.
exactly. Especially since the first time I went in '96. I remember when there was a parking lot where City Walk is now when I was a kid. So
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. Cool memory. All right. So, why don't you go ahead and walk us through the trip of your first day in the park and what you did, what you liked, what you didn't like? Just tell us about it.
well, on my first day there, we went to studios. And of course, like I said, we used the early park admission to our advantage. We got there about 20 minutes early, so we was kind of backed up towards the arch as we started to wait as they let people in. So it took a little bit to get through the turnstiles once they started letting people in. I wouldn't say it was a big pain, but you're still kind of waiting and you want to get in there and get going. But
Hmm.
we, like I said, we had some priorities on our list, and it did not include Harry Potter that day.
Okay.
I'm not a big Potter guy. I respect the fandom. I respect all kinds of fandoms, and I actually enjoy the Potter attractions they have there, and we'll get to that later because there is one I do thoroughly enjoy. But we went straight to ET because, as you can see, I'm kind of a old school guy. I'm a child of the
You are.
90s. I'm 42 years old. This was all the stuff that was there that is no longer there no more besides ET. So, and the last time I was at Universal, I got to the entrance of ET and they shut it down. So it went
Oh.
down for maintenance. So my last trip, I didn't get to ride it. So that was like one of my priorities. I have to ride ET. And I like it because as soon as you step in there, it just smells like the 90s. So I mean,
Mhm.
it's got some of those old theme park buildings have that old smell and it just smells nostalgic to me, I guess. So that makes me feel good when I
They boxed it
do
right
that.
up in there for you
Yeah,
for
I
any
know
Yeah.
time.
exactly.
Takes you
Yeah.
right back.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. If you walk into Monsters Unleashed, you're not going to smell that smell.
Right.
Sorry, I had a brain fart there for a second.
It's okay.
I'm glad y'all was editing.
Rachel will get that.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I figured you would.
So were you
Okay.
the only one that was there for early entry at ET, or were there other people heading directly for that also?
There was probably a group of about 5 or 6 teenagers in front of us and a mother and a child. So we was group number 3. We actually got a set of bikes to ourselves,
Wow.
just the 2 of us, but they made us get in front and move all the way over and sit by each other. So we was in our little corner on our set of bikes, just me and Dylan. So
Oh, that's funny.
yeah, I thought we might could at least spread out. They was like, no, go on down.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. Yeah.
They got to keep an eye on you, keep you together.
I guess so. I guess so. Then after that, we went over to Simpsons Land. I'm a big Back to the Future fan. I'm a big Simpsons fan. I'm kind of a little torn on that. You can tell it's the exact same ride system, building and everything, just with a coat of paint on it. I heard people that don't like that ride. I don't know if it's just because they're nostalgic for Back to the Future, but I enjoy it. I can tell the screens are kind of a little bit dated, for 20 years ago. It's kind of hard to follow, I guess, in comparison to a lot of other video rides because the screen's a lot clearer. But I think it's a fun ride. I like motion rides. I like motion rides themed to franchises I like. So The
It's a good
Simpsons,
ride.
yeah, it's a good ride. It's a good
Yeah.
ride. I don't think it's better than Back to the Future, but I think it was a good replacement as far as it goes. I keep on hearing that's on the chopping block. You know how rumors are,
Hmm.
especially since the guys down the street bought 20th Century Fox and The Simpsons. So I don't know. So I try to enjoy that when I go because you don't know how much longer it's going to be there. And I think it's so cool that they have like the stores and the shops at the food court themed to Springfield. You got Moe's Bar, you can get a Duff beer, you get a Krusty Burger at Krusty's Burger. So I like the little theming they have there with Springfield and all that.
Yeah, it's if you are at all, especially a Simpsons fan of old seasons, there's a lot of nods to the old seasons in throughout that land, and even the pre-show for the Simpsons attraction. It's actually pretty funny if you actually pay attention to some of the bits that they do throughout. But I agree. Last time I was on it, it was really showing its age. The animation that they were using, everything like that, it was very much showing that this is an older attraction now at this point. But I've heard the saying that Simpsons was on the chopping block. I had heard at one point that they thought about bringing back kind of a Back to the Future type ride, but that definitely is just a rumor. I don't know how they would be able to pull that off now, but considering the ages of the actors. But that Back to the Future
Yeah,
was a very fun ride, but Simpsons, it's long. I think it's a decent replacement, but it definitely needs some updating at this point.
agree. Yeah, it's just like I said, like you said it best, show its age. That's kind of the words I was looking for on that because you can just tell by looking, doing a newer ride, even as they say, Fast and Furious Supercharged. I know they're closing that soon, but just the video screens and all that, you can tell a big difference in the age of the two.
And the
Yeah.
technology for them. And
Yes,
yeah,
in the technology and all that. So
I guess I better make it a priority to get down there then because I've never done anything in the Simpsons land area there. And I'm pretty sure I still have my Don't Have a Cowman t shirt from 4th grade. So if I
Nice.
could do that,
one thing I wanted to get that I didn't get, I wanted to get a Bort keychain, the classics episode where they went to Krusty Land and, they had the Bort keychain. He couldn't find a Bart keychain. And
Oh
there
yeah.
was like 3 people in his shop named Bort. So they have Bort keychains at Universal. So
oh, that's
I didn't
funny.
know that.
I
That's
didn't get
funny.
one, but yeah, I wanted to get one, but I did not pick one up. So hopefully I get back down there before it closes. I
And
can
get
get
one of
myself
those.
Yeah.
one.
Well, if I make it
Yes.
there first, I'll keep an eye out for you.
I
Just in case
appreciate
I
it.
pick one up for you. I'm guessing there weren't too many people rope dropping that land either. So you probably were able to
No,
speed through those couple attractions
yeah.
pretty quickly.
We spent, like I said, we got there. We knew our priority was. I've been to parks enough, the early bird gets the worm.
Uh-huh.
If you don't have Express Pass or even at Disney with Fast Pass, you need to go to do. You got to prioritize and go. And you know, you might wait 3 minutes. You might wait 60 minutes, depending on what attraction you're going to. Sometimes you might want to get the lighter ones out of the way before you get the big ones out of the way. And I know, especially if you do have, I know it doesn't matter as much at Universal, but at Disney, if you knock out a few things before your scheduled time, anything like that, that's usually a good idea if you prioritize. People know that I go to theme parks all the time, so I kind of share that little tidbit. It's like if you're staying on property somewhere, get there early. If I
Uh-huh.
can give you any type of free advice, get there early, and then just kind of
It's
go. I'll give them some things they need to hit and all that. And try to help them out the best as I can just by knowing get there early.
yeah, and it sounds like where a lot of people would zig, for this trip you zagged. You went to attractions that you knew you could knock out quickly and get through
Mhm.
because ET, that line is very unpredictable because it moves very slowly at times.
Yes.
So it can be really hard to find a short wait. Even last time I wrote it, it was posted at 15 minutes. We ended up waiting 45. It just
Huh.
seemed to take forever. So I'm glad that you got in and got your own bikes.
Yeah, like I said, after I missed out the last time, getting so close to getting on it, I knew that was like the first. I was like, I got to ride ET this time. I mean, we're going straight there first thing, so
Huh.
we'll knock that out of the way. But after we did that in the same area, and I've never experienced this before. I heard it was good, and I'm glad I did this time. Was the Born Stuntacular is probably one of the greatest theme park shows I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I'd heard it was good, but it even exceeded my expectations on how good that show was. I mean, I was pretty much just sitting there for the 30 minutes just with my mouth open, being like, I mean, how they
Yeah.
do some of that.
Yeah, did they just
I
do
mean,
that? Yeah, and I agree. You can go in there with no knowledge whatsoever of the movies themselves, the Bourne, but still understand the entire show and be
oh,
blown
exactly.
away
Yes.
by what they do. Yeah.
And I was blown away. In all honesty, that was like the biggest surprise to me. I mean, I didn't think I wouldn't not like it, but to come out of there loving it. I mean, every time I go to Universal, I have to watch that show. I mean,
I
it
remember
was,
ending up in the front row at that at one point, and there were times that it would switch from being a projection screen to being real props, and I could not tell the difference, and I just
well,
was
I
staring
couldn't,
at things to try to figure out what's real and what's not real, and you're really just submerged right in it. You're
I
surrounded
couldn't
by it.
tell what people were real. I couldn't tell which people was on the screen and which
Yes.
people was on the stage. I was like, wow, they hired a lot of actors for this, and then I
Where'd
realized,
all
oh,
these
they're
guys
on the
come from?
screen. Yeah, there's really just two people out there, but there's 20 in the background. It's like you
A
think
whole
they're standing
crowd.
right there. So
Yeah.
that was pretty amazing to me. I mean, they really impressed me with that one. So I've already told somebody they went a week after I did, and they was like, "Well, what did you do down there? You got anything I need to do?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll go watch Jason Bourne." I mean, seriously, and they did. They said they loved it. So
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Okay, I have to add that to my list. I've never seen it before, but I've had a lot of team members at Universal tell me how much they love the show. Like, "Oh, are you
Mhm.
going to studios? You have to go see this show." But never taken them up on that advice, so I will now.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I can vouch for them. Definitely, that was pretty cool
So what happened after the show?
for the show. We went and rode the Mummy, which that's was when the wait time started to get a little on up there in the day. It was
It all caught up with you then, huh?
yeah, it finally caught up with me. I think, essentially watching because we was probably spent almost an hour waiting on Jason Bourne's show
Mm.
because we stayed in the queue and then we had to watch the pre-show. We watched the first show of the day, so that kind of cut into our time. But I think the Mummy was posted at 70 minutes when we got in line, but it really only took about 45, 50 minutes to actually get on the ride.
Okay.
I really like The Mummy. It seems like it's a little quicker than what I initially remember. I don't know. It seemed like the first time I rode it, it was like this long epic ride, which it's still an epic ride, but it seemed like it was over so quick this time for some reason. So I don't know if I just had selective memory and all that, but it's still worth a wait because that is a pretty cool ride in my opinion.
That may be your 40s talking also, Eric.
It
Being
could
in the
be.
40s really changes your perspective on a lot of things.
It could be. It's still longer than Tron, I think. So
Strawn is a quick one. That's what
Yeah.
is that,
Yeah.
90 seconds or something
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that? That's
That's
really
yeah.
fast.
I'll say it's quicker than that.
One nice thing about the Mummy is that the queue is indoors, so that is very nice about that roller
Yes.
coaster, is
Yes,
that
this is true.
you do go indoors. It's a nice place to cool off. If you need to wait in line, you have a good area to cool off in.
Yeah, definitely. And then
With
just for the fun of it, we always joke about this attraction just because I guess a lot of people joke about it, and we know it's not gonna be there any longer with the coaster opening up, but we went and got on Supercharged, Fast and Furious, got on the party bus.
Yeah.
We only waited like 20 minutes for that, but,
Missy,
it
have you
was
done that one
mostly
before?
I don't think I have,
Okay,
no.
it's an interesting attraction.
it is, it's very interesting. I don't know anybody that says they love it, but it still gets a pretty good wait. I don't know if it's just the novelty of it or they don't know any better, but it is an interesting attraction.
Yes.
I
Not
may not
all
be putting that on my to-do list.
No, I well, you
no,
can
you
skip
you
it.
I
gotta
mean,
do it
based
just
on
to do it
reviews from
once.
you 2 alone, I don't think
Just
so.
no, I think, like I said, we did it because it's just corny, I guess.
Something to laugh at, huh?
It's something to laugh at because you got The Rock and Vin Diesel there and all that, and talking about family and everything. Ludicrous.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Hanging
It
onto
kind of
helicopters and swooping down and
yeah. It's you've rode Kong at Islands of Adventure, right? The Skull Island Kong.
Probably.
It's like
very
maybe well,
similar.
it's very similar. You're
Yeah.
like
The
in a
first time I
party
went
bus
there,
tram,
they took me on all the rides. I had no idea what I was going on. I was so nauseated by lunchtime. I don't even know what I did. So
but
I
you
may
got
have
on
been on
Fast
all
you
of
got
these.
screens on both sides of you, and I don't think you're actually moving. You're sitting still, but the screens are going fast by you. And like I said, there's cars jumping around you, and Vin Diesel's hanging from a helicopter, something like that. And the
Oh, I
Rock's
think I do
su-
remember the Kong one now
suplexing
that
people
Yeah.
off moving cars. So it's
Kong
it's
is
it's
similar, and,
yeah
the first time I rode the Fast and Furious attraction, when it ended, I looked at my husband, I said, "What did we just ride? Like,
yeah
what was that?"
if it's only screens, I most likely did not do it
Yeah.
because I don't do great with screens. Even the New York one. What's the new I don't is it
The
still
Jimmy
even there?
Fallon one?
Jimmy
I've
Jimmy
Fallon
never
one?
done
Fallon.
that
Yeah.
one either.
Oh, that
That
made me
one's
so
actually
ill.
kind of fun.
Okay.
That did
That
me
one's
in that
funner than what I
day.
thought it was going to be. But I think the only difference in that, the Jimmy Fallon one, you're looking forward.
Mhm.
When you're
Uh-huh.
on a Kong and Fast and the Furious, everything's happened to the side of you because you're like in
Okay.
a vehicle with everything going on
Going
around
by,
you. So
well, maybe that's the trick for me. I'm okay with the stuff on the sides, but straight in front of
yeah,
me, I did not
yeah,
do well with.
yeah. Try it once before it goes away because they said it is
Okay.
closing when the supercharged coaster opens. So
Okay. When's that time frame? I don't how long do I have to get there?
like they'll
It's a while
they,
yet?
yeah, probably another 2 years,
Mm,
like 27, 28.
okay. Plenty of time then.
Well, and let's see, what did that replace? So I've got The Mummy, and you had Fast and Furious, and there was King Kong, the original one, and there was the
Uh,
Earthquake attraction.
Earthquake was what replaced Fast and Furious replaced
Replaced
Earthquake. Yes.
Okay, Earthquake was a decent attraction. I don't know if I'd still feel the same way about it now, but I remember as a kid, that one terrified me.
Yeah,
It was a lot of fun. They need to bring that one back. Basi
yeah. I
It
mean,
was
they're going to
Basically,
play.
bring back all the rides that
Yes,
they've
all the old
replaced
ones.
already.
I wanna,
Bring us the old
smell the
version
banana breath
back.
of King Kong and have bad actors, telling me the story of going through the city.
Yeah, they've replaced a lot of studios.
I
Doesn't
have a
seem like it's
question.
the
While you're
same part.
while you were over in that area, how did it look? Was everything gone from Rip, Ride, and Rocket? Was it just completely demolished over there?
I didn't see anything from Rip Ride Rocket. I even went behind the Hard Rock to look at the Berlin Wall, and you got a very good view of the old Nickelodeon studios as well. So I mean, it's all open area. The track's not going through the Ghostbusters firehouse anymore. You can't see it behind the sound stages or anything like that. As far as I could tell, Rip Ride Rocket is completely just gone.
Wow, and that's sad. That was a big surprise when they announced that they were closing that one.
Yeah, because
I
what that
really
was
like
over
that.
15 years. It wasn't around long.
No, it wasn't, and it was
It seemed
always
at least a
crowded. I always had to
yeah.
wait there, even with the Express Pass, always had a wait. So that was a huge surprise when they announced that that was going away.
Yeah, but Universal, they've ripped out coasters before because where Hagrid's is at now, they said that Dueling Dragons, I believe. So
That was a good
they'll
coaster.
uproot a coaster. Yeah,
Yeah,
they'll
that was a good
they'll
coaster.
take one out. They do not care.
Okay, so what happened after you reunited with the family at Fast and Furious?
I went and watched the Blues Brothers
Okay.
stage show. I know that's one thing that's actually been there probably since the park opened. That's still actually there. I'm a big Blues Brothers fan. I've watched that movie since I was probably 10 years old. Not the R-rated version. It used to come on TBS all the time in the
Yeah.
90s. And I used to watch the far out of it. But I always like to watch the Blues Brothers when I go to Universal.
Did
It's one of the
that
reasons I stopped by House of Blues is because it's the Blues Brothers theme.
oh,
So
and that's an outdoor show, isn't it? They just kind of they gather in one spot and you have the show
yeah, it's
there.
kind of tucked back in the alley there at the New York area. I mean, it's very easy to spot and see because there's people out there usually dancing and all that. It's just up to the side of the main thoroughfare, but they do shows periodically throughout the day. But it's just like in a alleyway.
Okay, what came next?
But really, after that, we kind of seen the wait times. It was like, let's go back to the hotel and chill out
Yeah,
for a
no
bit.
thanks, huh?
Yeah. Like I said, it was we kind of had our priority list. And you got to think too, this was the second week of March, so it was spring break as well.
Uh-huh.
So the ride times when it got into the afternoon and all, you was seeing 80, 90, 100 minutes on the
Wow.
ride times there. So we kind of was like, well, we kind of done what we wanted to do. We'll just kind of ease on back to Cabana Bay and hang out, maybe go to the pool or watch Harry Potter. Because it seems like every time I stay in a hotel, Harry Potter's always on AMC. I really wasn't watching it. Dylan loves Harry Potter, so he watched it. I just kind of followed along a little bit because I've never really watched the movies all the way through any of them. So I
Okay.
guess I couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't. I guess I don't have a fair assessment to say I hate it or don't hate it because I've never really watched it. I remember when Harry Potter got big in the movies, I was like a senior in high school, so I wasn't really into that at the time. If I was going to watch a book movie, I was going to watch Lord of the Rings. So, yeah.
Well, even though you didn't hit the Harry Potter stuff, that was quite a list of attractions you did do in
Yeah.
that day. That you did quite a few things. So pretty good.
Do
Pretty
you
good.
remember
So
about
then were
what
you
time it was? Because I'm trying to think if you were at the Bourne show at the beginning of the day, kind of.
I think the first Born show was a 11:15 or something like that. 11, it
Okay.
was 11 something, 11:15, 11:45. And by the time we did the Mummy and Fast and the Furious and watched the Blues Brothers and all that, we was out of there by 2.
Okay. So
So,
yeah, that is a full morning. You did
yeah.
you did a lot within that time period. So I just want to make sure it wasn't 7 p.m. and that's what you had accomplished for the
No,
day.
no, no. It was in the afternoon, so
Okay. Did you get any relaxation at Cabana Bay or was everything pretty crowded still?
everything was pretty crowded. I tried to get a little relaxation. I finally found a little sun chair, sorry, kind of there by itself, but there was still people all around me. And I chilled out there for a little bit. I went to the bar and ordered me a beverage and kind of sat there. Then I was like, you know what? I'm going to get into Lazy River.
Mhm.
Then I remembered you have to buy a float or bring your own float to the Cabana Bay Lazy River. That totally
I was just
slipped my
gonna
mind.
ask if they
Wow.
had them there for purchase still or if you had to bring it with you.
They had it there for purchase, but this was later in the day when I did actually end up going to the pool
Mhm.
and it was closed. So I don't know if it was just because it was later in the day, but they had signage up of pricing and all that. So I might have just missed out. So I
Uh-huh.
just kind of floated the best I could for a couple rounds and then got out. So, and it was a little cool in the evening there. I mean, it wasn't unbearable. If you was in the water, it was fine. But once you got out of the water, it was kind of, you needed to cover up. So
Mhm.
after I actually did get in the water, I kind of just moseyed back to the room, sopping wet with my towel. So
And did you head back to the park that night or were you finished with the park for the day and
we did for that day. We was finished with the park that day. We just did studios. I guess like a half day at studios and then just hung out at the resort the rest of the evening. It's like I said, I felt like we accomplished what we set out to do that day for the
Yeah,
most part before the wait times went up.
absolutely. All right, so then for day 2 then, were you at Islands of Adventure that day or where'd you start off?
We started out at Islands of Adventure. we got up, made sure and got up super early for that because you could probably guess where we was heading to with our early park entry. We probably got to the gates about 45 minutes earlier than we should have. We pretty much, I think we was like the second bus to roll out that morning. So it was a little bit, we didn't have to wait as long once they opened up the turnstiles to get in the park. But we went straight to Hagrid's because Hagrid's is probably one of my top two. I hate to put something at Universal over Disney, but I do love Guardians. That's
But I
probably my
think you
favorite.
just did.
Yeah, probably my favorite Disney ride. But Hagrid's is, I don't know, it's something else. The Hagrid's is definitely the best ride at Universal.
You know
We
that's Harry
still,
Potter, right?
I know it's like I said, I like the Potter attractions. I love
Yeah.
Butterbeer. I think Butterbeer is delicious. I mean, I might not know anything about Harry Potter, but the Hagrid's coaster, I do know that is a awesome, awesome attraction. So
I would imagine
it's
Dylan enjoyed it too then, since he's a
oh yeah,
Harry Potter
Dylan.
fan.
Oh yeah, he loves it. Yeah, there was no debate on what we was doing when we went to Islands of Adventure first thing.
How was your wait? Because I've noticed that since they added Express Pass to Hagrid's, the waits are significantly longer for standby.
Yes, I was about to get into that.
Okay.
We got into the park. Like I said, we didn't wait as long as we did the morning before. We was pretty well up towards the turnstiles when we got in, but when we headed straight to Hogsmeade and straight, well, to the lockers, because you got to put your stuff up.
Yeah.
I mean, we did that real quick and hopped in line. I think by the time we got to the queue, the sign said 90.
Wow.
We probably waited 70 minutes to get on Hagrid's. But in comparison, kept looking later in the day, and it was going up towards 3 hours a wait
Oh, wow.
for Hagrid's.
Which is crazy because you wonder where are these people coming from because you're there early and getting in line. You know, it's early entry for resort guests. So I don't know if there's just a lot more people in the express line than you would imagine.
It
Because,
must
like
be
you
because
said, you
even
don't
when
have a guaranteed time.
as quick as we got in and as we booked it straight there, the ride was already going with people on it when we was walking up to the castle there. And I
Mhm.
mean, it was probably park hadn't been open 6 minutes at that point. I mean, because
Yeah.
we went straight there. I'm like you. I think it's the express pass really puts you at a disadvantage if you don't have it that early in the morning. But still,
Mhm.
I think it's better to get there early and to go. It's either one or two choices. It's either Velocicoaster or Hagrid's because they both hold about the same amount of time throughout the day. Hagrid's might be a little more, but Velocicoaster's right up there with it because I know that the Velocicoaster was showing like 140-minute wait later in the day. So,
Wow.
and we
Huh.
did not do Velocicoaster because of that. Because after we got off Hagrid's, we did some other things with low weights, but we didn't do Velocicoaster this time just because just didn't want to wait in line for 3
Yeah,
hours.
that is a long wait. And both Hagrid's and Velocicoaster do have partial outdoor queues as well. So if you are going and it's hot in the summertime, be ready to wait
Yes,
outside too.
yes, because we was outside when we started waiting
Yeah.
at Hagrid's, so the
Yeah.
indoor queue was already full by the time we got there for
Which
early
is a
entry and all that.
huge indoor queue. I mean, this is not
Mhm.
Yes.
anything. There's a room in particular where you zigzag and it probably holds, I don't know, I would say 200 people in that one room that you're going through zigzagging in there. So, yeah, that is not a short queue whatsoever.
No, no. And I remember too when we finally got into the castle, they hadn't opened up the pre-show yet. So people was going straight through and they stopped us first and diverted us into the pre-show room. So they had been
Okay.
going straight through that entire time. Then we had to divert off and they cleared that out and we watched the pre-show and then went back out. Cause I mean you just cut around that line there. So
Mhm.
they I guess they was trying to fill more people through.
Gotcha.
We was the first ones to do the pre-show that morning.
Did that make do you think having to be cut off for your pre-show made your wait a little well, I guess you'd be waiting a little bit longer having to go through the pre-show, but had the line moved quite a bit in front of you, or do you think still Express Pass was filling those motorbikes up?
I think Express Pass was filling them up because by the time we got out there, the people that were in front of us, we walked right back to them.
Yeah.
I don't think it hindered us that much.
Okay.
It's like I think they was just trying to get more people in
Yeah.
from the outside that way.
Mhm.
Wow. So what did you do after Hagrid's? I know you did not do Velocicoaster. Did you enjoy Hogsmeade? Did you go to other parts of the park and enjoy
Yes,
those attractions?
we did Forbidden Journeys at Hogsmeade, right?
Yes.
Yes, we did Forbidden Journey, and it was basically a walk-on.
Okay.
Even after over an hour of the park being open, I think Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey was only like a 15-minute wait,
Oh, wow.
and it was pretty much a walk-on. I think we spent most of the time walking to
Mhm.
get on the
Get
ride than we
on the
did
ride,
actually
Yeah.
yeah.
standing to wait. So,
Yeah. That's
well, I
also a
think
massive queue, and if
yes,
you're a Harry Potter fan, it's a real and even if you don't want to ride the attraction, go through the queue if the wait is short because it is very impressive. It's the details that you see in it. Walking through the greenhouse is one of my favorite things to do there. The attraction makes me motion sick, and not many do, but that one does. That one gets me every single time, so, I think it's got a bit of a reputation for itself, but it is very impressive to walk through it.
yeah, I felt myself get a little motion sick as well. I thought it might because I had ate breakfast that morning. I usually pack Cliff Bars with me and stuff, so when I got off the ride and went to the locker, I pulled out my Cliff Bar, and that seemed like it helped me. So I don't know if it was an empty stomach or age, but,
Yeah. Yeah.
I got a little bit motion sickness on that as well. But it's another one of those things going back to I'm not a big Harry Potter fan, but that is a fun attraction. The queue,
Yeah.
like you said, is impressive and, it's very immersive, so I can see why a lot of Harry Potter fans do like going to Universal just to be immersed in that world that they've created there.
Absolutely. What came after that?
After that, we walked over to Marvel Superhero Island and we did Spider-Man. And when I was waiting in line for Spider-Man is when I found out that Chuck Norris passed away. So
Oh, no.
yeah, I was waiting in line about to go because it kind of got it was outside the building over to the side in the extended queue, but it was posted like a 45-minute wait. And we waited probably every bit of 45 minutes for that one. But we was about to go back into the main building out of the outside queue, and I got the message that Chuck had died. So that kind of put a little bit of damper on that. But I do enjoy the Spider-Man ride. It's still kind of weird going to Universal and doing Marvel stuff, even though they had it first. But it seems like it's where it's a different, it's mostly comic book based and, the animated series from the 90s. I could see where it took a lot of inspiration from that
Mhm.
instead of the actual MCU. So, but that's a fun ride.
Yeah. Question, for those of you who have been to Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure, Transformers over at Universal Studios is pretty much the same setup, just different franchise. Do you have a preference between the two, between Transformers and Spider-Man?
Probably Spider-Man only for the fact that I like Spider-Man more than Transformers. But I will say it is basically the same. I guess it's just kind of which theme you like better when
Yeah.
it comes down to those two. But it seems like there's a lot of rides at Universal that are very similar, just have a different franchise slapped on the marquee there. But doesn't mean it's not fun.
Right. I would agree with Spider-Man. And I think for me, it's more when Spider-Man first opened and going to and riding that attraction. I'd never done an attraction like that before. And it was so interesting how they did everything and made everything work that I think that's why it wins for me between the two. Because by the time Transformers opened, it's like, well, I've already ridden this before. So I do, but I really enjoy, they're both very well done and very creative rides.
Yes, I agree. It's just been it had just been done before by the time Transformers had opened.
Yeah.
So then after that we did the Kong, was it Skull Island, I believe it's
Mhm.
called, or something along those lines. We did that. I'd never done that attraction before. So
Okay.
yeah, and there's, talking about things that are similar,
Yeah.
but not the same. You could definitely tell that it was, we talked about it earlier, but Fast and Furious and that are the same thing. But the one thing cooler I liked about Kong is it kind of throws back to the old attraction at Studios. At the end of it, you get to see the big animatronic King Kong. So that's a nice touch at the end of that ride. So
Yeah.
I think if I was going between Fast and Furious and Kong, I would definitely pick Kong, if just for
Yeah.
the big animatronic at the end. So
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that, so that was a nice surprise.
So when that attraction first opened, they actually had team members as actors on stage, or not, I wouldn't say on stage. They were in the queue and they would be in the walls and they would pop out at you or like try to grab you while you were in the queue there. And I'm glad that they have stopped that because that was terrifying. I hate haunted
Yeah,
houses and things like that. I don't want people jumping out, jump scaring me. And I would imagine that it was only going to be a matter of time before somebody got hit. So
I was gonna say, yeah,
that
you
is
run the risk of getting knocked out or something, and
yeah.
stuff like that.
Yes.
So
Yeah. Yeah, and for such a and the animatronic in the queue is really creepy, and I was always surprised by that and was surprised by the people jumping out at you because it's one of the attractions there that has the lowest height limit. So it's pretty family friendly in that regard, but there's some intense moments in the attraction itself. It's not an intense ride, but there are intense moments.
Yeah, on the screens there with the
Yeah.
battles and all that going on. Yeah,
Yes.
it's a lot more intense than Fast and Furious.
Yes. In the party bus.
Yeah, on the party bus, it's a lot more intense than that for sure. But it was fun. I enjoyed it for what it was.
Okay.
And then we did a lot of walking around Islands of Adventure. It seems like I think we took about 3 laps. I don't know why. Don't ask me why, but we did a lot of strolling in Islands of Adventure. I had considered I had never rode the Popeye river raft ride, and I didn't want to get too wet. Yeah, the barge, but Dylan's like, no, you don't want to ride that. And I was like, well, why not? He's like, you get soaked. I was like, well, I mean, I've been on raft rides before. Yeah, you run the chance of maybe 1 in 10 to get absolutely soaked. Well, we went over to the walkway beside the olive ship where it shows the rafts going through. You get 100% chance of being soaked on that ride. I mean,
You
it's got
will
those
get wet,
good.
right?
Yes, you will get wet. I've never seen a water ride like that before in my life, in all honesty. I didn't expect, because like I said, I didn't, excuse me. I've never rode that. I've never walked over there to see that actually does that. But I'm kind of missing a water ride in Orlando right now, so I thought I might try something else. I didn't do that one, and I didn't do the Dudley Do Right Ripsaw Falls too, because it looks like you got soaked on that as well. And I was wearing Vans, the tennis shoe Vans, and like I don't think wet Vans and me walking around Universal is going to be a good combo. So we'll just save that for another time. Next time I'll be more prepared to ride soaking wet water rides at Islands of Adventure. So it
So
looked fun though, but
have you done Dudley Do Rights before?
no, I've not done any of the water rides at
Okay,
Universal.
so Dudley Do Rights is a little terrifying, to be completely honest with you. Yes, you do get soaked. Bluto's Bilge Rat Barges is the best ride of the circular rafts that I've ever been on. The absolute best one. But yes, you will be soaked from head to toe. There is no escaping. There's a one
No,
part where you
no,
just
not
get
at
a
all.
sheet of water coming down on you. I mean, so if you're there in the middle of July and it's 98 degrees and high humidity and you need to cool off, that's a great one to go on. But
Yeah.
there's no escaping. Because a lot of times when you ride those rides, there's usually one side of the raft that gets wetter than the other side. This ride is equal
Yes.
opportunity. Everyone gets soaked, but it's really
Yeah,
fun. Super fun. But
that's
yeah,
what I
that
had
was
in
a
my
good
mind.
call.
Usually you'll go down a hill or whatever, and whoever's twisting that way is going to be the one that
Yes.
gets soaked. And then they show you exactly who gets soaked there on that walking trail, and it is everybody.
It's
Yeah.
everyone, yeah.
Yeah. But it's
So
fun. It's really fun.
plan accordingly with shoes next
Yeah.
time because
Or
Yeah.
even a change of clothes.
I want to ride it. I want to ride it, but it wasn't going to cooperate that day. So
Yeah. I've ridden with a
Yep.
poncho before and still gotten soaked. So there's no escaping it whatsoever. You're just going to get wet.
Well, I noticed they both have the dryers. The big
Yeah.
dryers you can pay and get dried off. So that's another thing. But I still didn't want to chance
Yeah.
that.
I completely get that. But
Excuse me.
that is a great ride. So for our listeners out there, as summer months are coming in, highly, highly recommend that attraction. It's a lot of fun. So I came after skipping the water rides, or at least enjoying watching other people get wet.
We got lunch, so this is one of the times I did eat in park. We went over to the Jurassic Park section because their pizza pickup window come out with garlic bread cones. I know they have like the macaroni and cheese cones that are very popular over at Epic Universe. I
Yeah.
believe at the How to Train Your Dragons area. Well, they have garlic bread cones at the pizza window at Jurassic Park. They have a meatball one and a chicken Alfredo one. So I got the chicken Alfredo one, and Dylan got the meatball one. They were good. I don't know if they were $20 good, but
Okay.
sometimes you have to, you pay for the novelty sometimes. But
Yeah.
it was just a bread cone, and they just stuffed it full with your pasta and meatballs or whatever, and you eat it with a fork, and then you eventually just start eating it like you would an ice cream cone, I guess, when you get past the threshold. But
Honestly,
we
that
ate
sounds
lunch at
better than the mac and cheese cones, and people love those, but I did not try those that I was there, but a garlic bread and meatballs does sound good.
I probably could have ate 2 of them, but at $20 a pop,
Yeah.
one was fine. So that held me over for a while.
Okay.
And then
Question, are you backtracking through this? I know that you said you probably did about 3 laps, but Are you making complete circles the whole time, or are you backtracking as well?
Not really backtracking too much to my knowledge. It seems like we, just kinda made the round because Islands of Adventure is pretty easy to make around
Yeah.
through the park, it seems like. You'll go to Seuss Landing, and then you go to Marvel, and then Toon Lagoon, Jurassic Park, and then the Lost Continent. You can either go back that way to Seuss or go to your, left and go to Hogsmeade. But it seems after eating lunch and kinda wandering around Islands of Adventure and seeing their wait times, we got on the, Hogwarts Express and went back to, studios for a little bit.
Did you
So,
notice? So I typically think going from studios to Islands of Adventure, it's a longer wait. But we had a long wait going from Islands over to studios last time. How was your wait for the
it
Hogwarts?
was it was posted 20 minutes, which was one of the deciding factors to actually, get on the train and ride. It was about 45 minutes.
Okay.
So,
Oh.
it was a longer wait than what was posted when we initially got in line.
Yeah.
I'd heard I mean, every time that I've tried to ride or rode the train, it always looks like it was, a long wait. I've had the blessing of Express Pass in the past and even had to wait a long time for Express Pass, it seemed like, to get on the train before, but it was definitely false advertising on the wait time. I know
Yeah.
it's kinda hard to keep that accurate at all times, but 25-minute swing that quick was pretty, disappointing.
Yeah. So how was it?
But
How crowded was Diagon Alley? Did you go into Diagon Alley? I guess you didn't have to do that once you got over to
no,
studios.
we got out at King's Cross. I did not go into Diagon Alley this entire trip, to be
Okay.
honest with you. To be honest with you, I did not go into Diagon Alley. We just went to King's Cross, and, it was another one of those things where we just kind of moseyed around because it was another where it was late in the afternoon and the ride times had gone up and the people were there, and we just kind of moseyed around a bit and then ended up going back to Cabana Bay and hanging out. And it was
Uh-huh.
another one of those things we went to the pool and watched movies and, went off property and got something to eat. Again, we felt accomplished in doing what we wanted to do for our time there.
Yeah. Well, you got a lot done in the morning, as you said, with your advice to get there for early entry times. You definitely did. Question though, did both parks have early entry while you were there, or did you just happen to hit it at a great time where you could get studios on one day and islands on the other, or do you remember?
It was islands only. If I said that I was there early entry for studios, I'm mistaken.
Okay. You were just there
We
early.
got there early, but
Yes.
they didn't open till 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Islands of Adventure was, I think Islands of Adventure and Epic was both on the early entry, but Studios was
Okay.
not.
Yeah. So, considering we talk so much about Disney here, that is a huge difference between Universal and
Mm,
Disney is that not every park has early entry, that they will kind of go back and forth. And sometimes there doesn't seem to be much rhyme or reason as to which park is open for early entry. I think Epic Universe right now is every day for resort guests, I believe, just because it is such a new park. But one week you may have studios and the next week you may have islands. So they kind of rotate back and forth that way. So don't expect that islands and studios will run that at the same time on your trip.
So, Eric, I have an appreciation for you doing your laps around and just kind of wandering the park and taking in the ambiance because so much of what Universal does there with their different lands is in the theming and everything. And I think so many people put so much weight on how many rides you rode, how many
yeah.
attractions you saw. And, there's a lot more to enjoying the parks than just being on the actual ride. I think you had a full day in both days, even though you were out of there in the afternoon hours.
Yeah, yeah, it seems like I said, we was pretty, felt accomplished in what we did and felt like we did a whole lot in what we, had set out to do, and I agree with you about, taking the atmosphere in whatever land you're in and whatever park you're in because Disney does a good, job of that as well.
Uh-huh.
I can walk around Epcot and, never have to get on a ride at all, just kinda taking it all in, going into the shops and seeing the culture and all that that's
Yeah.
plastered all throughout the lands there.
Absolutely. So was there a 3rd park day for you guys in this trip, or was it the 2 days filled up all your time there?
Well, basically the 2 days filled up all our time there. We was only in Orlando. We got there late on a Wednesday night. We had spent Thursday and Friday in the parks. We had our MegaCon event on Saturday, and we came
Uh-huh.
home on Sunday.
Okay. quick turnaround than that.
Yeah, it was like I said, usually it's a little bit even more leisurely than that if I'm at the parks for a week or so, but it was kind of like boom, boom, boom. It felt like it was boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
I know we left early and all that, but
I
we
So it
just had
sounds
understand.
to
so much time.
It sounds to me like you had a great time and you did plenty of things, but for you
Oh, yes.
personally, was it worth it? Like, would you do it again if you knew you only had the 2 days? Is it worth it to go without Express Pass to Universal Orlando if you only have 2 days?
I think it is. I would do it again. Me personally, of course, I would prefer to have Express Pass, but
Right.
I would have no problem going to stay at any of the non-signature hotels on property
Mhm.
there and fitting in a few days. I don't know if I could just do Epic Universe in just one day like that, since it's like I said, it's nothing I've not experienced that.
Right. It
Once I
makes a
go
big
somewhere,
difference. It makes a
yeah,
big difference if you've been to the parks before. Of course, it wasn't your first
exactly.
time at either
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
of those
I
parks.
know not everybody gets that luxury. A lot of times people go to Orlando to the parks. It might be the only time they ever go, or they
Mhm.
only go like once every 5 years. So I'm kind of in a different circumstance where I'm in Orlando at least 2 to 3 times a year. So I feel like I have the luxury of just taking my time and just seeing what I want and don't have to try
Uh-huh.
to fit everything into a few days. So,
Yeah. I completely agree. It's a very different mindset going into the parks when you know you'll be back.
but if I do Epic, I would at least like to. I would have to do, I will probably wouldn't be leaving at 2 o'clock. I would need at least a
Yeah.
full day to put it through, or at least 2 days in Epic Universe just to kind of. Then after that, I might be fine. But the first time I go there, I would really like to soak it in and enjoy it. And
Be more thorough of an
Yeah.
yeah,
experience. Yeah.
yes, exactly.
All right. Well, thank you, Eric. We appreciate you going through your trip with us. It's always good to hear about things going on at Universal and new things to try, new things that you tried. Because, like you said, you've been going since what, 1996 to
Yes,
Universal? Yeah.
yes. My
So,
first trip was in '96.
wow. So much like with, Walt Disney World, things are always changing there, new things, new adventures to be had. So, same thing with Universal as well. For all of our listeners, if it's been a while since you've been to Universal, give it a shot. It's a great place to go and spend several days with your family. So, thank you, Eric. We do appreciate that.
No problem.
Rolling right into today's top five. Today, Eric has his top five list of things at Universal. So, this is a super broad list. I'm not sure what to expect, but we'll see what he's got for us. Eric, let's start with your number five.
All right, on my number five, it would be the Back to the Future Part 3 train outside of the old Back to the Future area. Believe I mentioned that I am a huge Back to the Future fan, so every time I do see that train, it makes me feel giddy and I have to get my picture took by it. No matter how many times before I've got my picture taken by it. But I love seeing that train because it takes me back to the 90s and what used to be there, and just my love for the franchise in general, knowing that that was the actual screen use train from Back to the Future Part 3. The only thing I got to complain about, it looks like it might need a little TLC, sort of know some paint chipping off and some rusty spots and all that, but it's been there for 36 years now, so I guess that's to be expected, but
Uh-huh.
might need
It could
to
use a
get on
little love, huh?
yeah, we need to get in contact with somebody about maybe restoring it a little bit because it's starting to get a little rough.
Yeah. It definitely is a fun photo op, though. I'll give you that for sure. All right, moving on to your number four then.
All right, my number four is ET, just for the simple fact that it's the only thing left from the first time I went there. And as mentioned before, it smells like the 90s as soon as you walk through the door. I've heard that they're going to update it. I don't know how much they're actually going to do to it, but I still find older rides like that have a lot of charm to them. So I hope it's not too much, maybe just a little refresh, but let's not get too carried away with the advanced technology. But
Agreed.
ET's up there as number four.
Do they still say your name during that
Yes,
ride? Okay.
yes. As soon as you walk in the door, they hand you the card and ask you what your name is, and
Mhm.
they type in your name, and then you, of course, take the card with you and turn it in before you board the ride. And then at the end, ET says, thank you, Eric. So that's still cool after all
Yeah.
these years.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Number three of your Universal favorites.
Number three would be The Mummy. I would say that is probably my favorite ride at studios in general, would
Okay.
be The
Uh-huh.
Mummy. Like I said, I know I said I thought it was short or it seemed shorter than what I remember, but it's still a very, very fun ride. The queue is entertaining, the story that goes along with the mummy's curse and all that before you get on the ride. And just seeing Brandon Fraser in there is pretty cool as well. Mummy's definitely number 3 on my list.
All right. Another good one. This is a
It is a
solid
good
list
one.
so far.
It's a fun attraction.
We're flying right through these down to number 2 already.
All right, on number two would not have been here a month ago, but number 2 is the Born Stuntacular.
There you
Okay.
go.
Like I said, that was it. Takes a lot to impress me. I've done a lot of things and I've seen a lot of things. But when I watched that, I was literally just flabbergasted and just my mind was blown about how well done that show is. I mean, I'm used to seeing, Indiana Jones, and Indy ain't got nothing on Jason Bourne when it comes to stunts in Orlando. I mean, I'm sorry. It was just an amazing show and experience, and I definitely look forward to going to watch that again and again. I might watch it twice
Okay.
next time I go.
Wow. Well, Indiana Jones had nothing on the Terminator show that used to be there too. That was also an impressive show. I remember that show. So I will definitely have to add the Bourne
Born
show.
Spectacular.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bourne,
Yeah.
to my next list.
All right. And for number 1, what has the honored spot?
Probably to no surprise, Hagrid's is my number one thing at Universal. By far, like I said, it is up there, interchangeable with 1 or 2 as my favorite ride in Orlando currently. And this is, like I said, we've talked about, I'm not a Harry Potter fan, but this is one of the most amazing attractions I've ever been on in my life. It's so well done. It's so fun. I remember the first time I rode it, I knew nothing about it. When a ride opens, I don't watch any type of video or feedback
No
or anything. I like to
spoilers.
go,
Mhm.
I do not want any spoilers. And the first time I rode that, going up vertical like that, I didn't know it was coming, then going back, and then the drop there.
Mhm.
I mean, it was still fun the second time as well as it was the first time. Even though I knew that stuff was coming, it was so awesome. Yeah, I love Hagrid's. That's just hard to beat.
So do you have a preference as to whether you're in the sidecar or on the motorbike? You think it makes a difference?
I don't know if it makes a difference. I just like being in the motorbike because I mean, you
That's cool,
feel
right?
cooler if you're cooler if you're riding a motorcycle instead of the sidecar.
I think the drop is a lot cooler. I think it would. I mean, I've only been on it once. I was on the bike, and somebody had recommended to me that I should be on that. I didn't really know why. But I think that drop seems like it would be cooler when you're on the bike because you actually feel like it's like falling out from underneath
Yeah,
you, rather than
yeah,
just
because
like,
I didn't know
when
what
you're
was
in the
going
car and you
on. It
feel
was
confined in the car, but
Yeah.
you're on the
yeah,
bike and you're like, ah, I'm losing
yeah.
it, kind of thing.
Yeah, like I said, it was so unexpected the first time. You didn't really have time to process what was going on. You fail, and the
Hmm.
next thing you know, you're shot
Yeah.
off again, and you're like, "Did that just
Zooming off.
happen?"
Yeah. And it's a long coaster. It's a decently long coaster
Yeah,
compared to some of the others. So yeah, it's a
Mhm.
it's a quality attraction.
I agree for sure.
All right. Well, very good, Eric. Thank you so much. That was a solid top 5. All good things there, and I
Good.
appreciate that. In today's listener question, we actually have a universal related listener question. Rachel, I'll have you take this one. Our listener asks, at Universal Orlando, if you're staying at one of the signature hotels that includes Express Pass, will that include Epic Universe as well, or what all is included with that?
So Universal has 3 types of hotels. They have their signature collection, the prime value hotels, and then finally the value inn and suites. There are 5 signature collection resorts. And 3 of these resorts include Universal Express Unlimited for Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios only. So this is the Universal Express Pass Unlimited. So that means you could go on Hagrid's 10 times a day if you wanted to use it using the Express Pass line. The resorts that offer this are only Hard Rock Hotel, Lowe's Royal Pacific Resort, and Lowe's Portofino Bay. There are 2 other signature collections that do not offer the Express Pass as part of your stay. That is Lowe's Sapphire Falls Resort and Universal Helios Grand Hotel. As far as Epic Universe is concerned, though, there is no Express Unlimited for with Epic Universe. So these resorts signature collection, even though they do offer Universal Express Unlimited, that is only for Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios. Epic Universe is unfortunately not included in that. No matter where you are staying, you will not get that included. That will have to be a separate purchase that you make.
And we may eventually see a change in that in the future, but at the time we're recording this episode, which is the spring of 2026, that is how it operates.
Yes.
Good question. I think it can be confusing for people if they're not reading the fine print when they're looking at their hotel options online, but good to know.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thanks, Rachel.
Of course, absolutely. And if you have a question that you would like to submit, we have two email addresses. We have podcast at storybookdestinations.com and a Disney Life at storybookdestinations.com. We also have several social media channels. You can find us on Facebook at a Disney Life. We have an Instagram and a TikTok too, where our handles are a Disney Life Pod. And we also have a YouTube channel where we'll post video footage of our episodes. So, for today's tip of the week, I will also include a universal tip for all of you. Eric mentioned as he was taking us through his trip that having to go to Hagrid's that morning, he had to stop at a locker beforehand. One thing you need to know if you're visiting Universal, pack light. The attractions do not allow for you to take bags onto them, unlike at Walt Disney World, where you can carry bags and backpacks on there with you. At Universal, they do ask on the majority of attractions that everything you carry on be put into a locker. So I recommend packing light. They do have some large lockers for larger backpacks, but most of the lockers are pretty small and compact. So make sure that you're packing light, or if there is someone who is staying off of the attraction, see if they will hold your stuff for you, because you aren't going anywhere on the attraction with it. So that is my tip for you for the week. So, Eric, thank you again so very much for joining us. We appreciate your time today. The throwback to all the 90s Universal, which is how I remember so much of it too. And taking us through, what it's like to be at Universal and enjoying your time in your own pace there. So, Missy, always great to talk to you and can't wait till we get to do this again.
All righty. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We appreciate you being here, and we'll see you next week.